Today we are going to do a V-neck. I have my neckband piece here. You are going to prep your neckband piece, put it wrong sides together, and give it a good press. The next thing you are going to do is you are going to fold the front bodice in half. Make sure the neckline is nice and lined up and lie it flat. And then you are going to fold the neckband in half so the short raw edges are together. Line up the neckband with the angle of the neckline, raw sides facing the bodice. And then the corner of the raw edges should be lined up with the point of the neckline. Then you are going to trim the corner of the neckband at the same angle of the bodice. Take your neckband piece and open it up. The short raw edges should have 2 even points. It'll look just like this. Then line up the short ends, right sides together, matching the centers. Take it to your sewing machine using a 1/4 inch seam allowance and sew the V of the short sides with a straight stitch. Now with your V sewn, you are going to use your scissors and you are going to clip the middle of the V, making sure not to clip through the stitches you just did. Open your neckband, fold one side one direction and the other side the opposite direction. You will fold the neckband wrong sides together, aligning the middle seam, and the seam allowance should be nested. With your neckband piece lined up, you are going to take it to your sewing machine and you are going to base the bottom of the V using a 1/4 inch seam allowance. You are also going to trim off the excess fabric. With your bodice piece, you are going to add a stay stitch using a longer straight stitch and a 1/4 inch seam allowance. Once you have these added to both pieces, you are going to clip the V on your neckline. Make sure to get all the way to but not through the stitches. Then line up the center of your neckband with the center of your bodice. Once this is pinned in place, pull the sides of the V of the front bodice even with the neckband. Make sure you line up both sides and pin it in place. You are going to take it to your sewing machine using a straight stitch and sew the V of the neckline. Make sure to bring down the needle in the center and rotate the fabric, adjusting the fabric carefully. This can be very tricky the first time, so it's best to base the V first and check the seam by flipping the neckband up. Once you're satisfied with the way it looks and the V lies flat, sew using a smaller stitch over the basting stitches. Next is attaching the neckband. I find it easier to turn the bodice wrong sides out, but you can easily attach it while it is right sides out. Line up the quarters of the neckband with the quarters of the bodice neckline. I like to start at the back and then evenly stretch the sides and work my way around that way. Beginning at the point of the V, sew around the neckline to attach. Turn your bodice right sides out. Make sure everything looks good. Give the neckline a good press. And if you would prefer for a professional finish, top stitch using a cover stitch or a twin needle. That's it. Have a great day.